Hi, Dr. Helen, how are you?
That you will find love. All you have to do is go on 1,000 dates. That's right, 1,000 different dates.
Good morning to you all. Good morning, Violet.
Good morning, Kathy.
How are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, I'm fine. Karibu sana.
Asante, I'm actually at work.
Oh, okay. I see you're good at keeping time.
Yeah, I'm sure right now you know that I keep time.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
sure you know that when I say it two, it's two, unless something else happens. I was here earlier, like 10 minutes or 15 minutes earlier.
Karibu sana.
Others, you're well?
Oh, we are fine. We can't complain.
Thank you.
Yeah. Margaret, how are you?
Fine, thanks.
Karibu sana.
Sunday here, it's 3 a.m. in the morning.
Oh, it's 3 a.m. Where are you logged on from? You're in the US?
Yes, I am.
Oh, sorry. How can you up so early, or we have kept you up this late?
No problem.
We're happy to have you with us.
Happy to see you.
Yeah, we'll be starting at exactly 10, so feel welcome. We just get to know each other.
Yeah.
As others log in, I can see people are coming in. Lumasai, how are you?
Fine. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. You're most welcome.
Thank you very much.
Karibu sana. We'll be starting at 10 in another 3 minutes, actually. We're just giving a few people time to log in.
It's okay. I'm ready.
Karibu sana.
Hello.
So good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Kathy.
Thank you. I'm glad you can hear me. So I take this opportunity to welcome all of you.
Thank you.
To today's Family Day meeting. Let me just take care of some echo coming from here. So we are very happy as the family of Fountain Hope to have you with us this morning, and really appreciate taking time to be with us today. We normally have this meeting every month, once a month, and it's an effort to keep in touch with our loved ones, just to share progress, what is happening with our clients here at the center. So we are at the Fountain of Hope Addiction Treatment Center. That's the picture showing on your screen. And our clients, I can see they are set, they are ready to be with us. For our loved ones who have been able to log in, you're most welcome. Thank you, Margaret. You've stayed up late to be with us this morning. It's 10 a.m. in Kenya. I say it's 3 a.m. where you are. So with the advent of COVID-19, also new things have come. You can see we are able to join across geographical locations. This was mostly not possible. Usually we used to have these meetings as physical meetings, but we are glad that we are able to join from wherever we are. Ellen, I can see you. Are you ready with our family so that we get started now?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. So today we're looking at, we like to just give education to the family members on what we do and how we do it. And to do that, we would like to just share information on the journey to recovery. What is addiction and how do people recover is basically what we're going to be discussing today. And in the interest of time, I'm going to invite Dr. Morris Amlundu, who is also the director of the center. He'll be making this presentation today. And after this, we're going to have some plenary discussions. So feel free to note down the areas of discussion you would like us to have. And then we will interact after the introduction. So Dr. Morris, if you are ready, we are ready for you. Welcome. I don't think we can.
Okay.
Yes, it has been.
Okay. Everyone and welcome. Today is our family day. Family day is a day when we invite families and members of the public to come to our center and listen to what we do, see what we do, and support their loved ones who are at the center. So this one, because of the COVID-19 restrictions, we are doing them virtually. But hopefully, when things are under control, we'll come back to meeting face to face and interacting even more. So today, I would like to make the main speech, and we'll talk about recovery from addiction. But before we talk about recovery from addiction, we'll also talk about how it starts. So just as way of introduction, Fountain of Hope Treatment Center, most of you are familiar with it. We are located in Syokimau. We are a combination of a hospital and an addiction rehabilitation center, so that we offer comprehensive services. When people come, normally they come with more than one problem, so we are able to handle all. My name is Dr. Mlundu. I am the doctor in charge, and today I'm the presenter. And I would like to talk about addiction, how it starts, and the journey of recovery. So, addiction, we all have an idea what addiction is, but the definition of addiction is a progressive and chronic brain disorder in which someone has a condition in which negative consequences to their physical health, mental health, and even their psychological and social health. And that addiction usually starts by affecting our bodies, then it moves to the mind, and it ends up consuming us everywhere. It takes our soul as well. So this addiction, just as an introduction, what are the signs? How do you know someone has an addiction? The signs, like I said, will start, and sign is that the person starts to use something or to behave in a particular way, and this behavior starts to escalate, or this use starts to escalate. This use and behavior start to escalate such that they want to have more and more every day, and that's what we call tolerance. You become tolerant to what you are doing. If you are taking a cup of tea, you want more and more and more and more until now you reach a point where objectively people around can see that it is too much, and subjectively you can also say that when I started I was using this, but now I use more. That's a very important first sign. And then it follows up that you have a desire to use without stopping, an insatiable desire, or you crave every other moment you want this substance you use or this behavior you engage in. And when you miss or you don't get enough of what you're wanting, you start having what we call absence withdrawals. These are signs that I need that thing now and here, otherwise I'm not going to perform well. And eventually your body starts to be affected because you are having too much of this substance or this behavior. And also your mental health starts to deteriorate. So you become kind of a prisoner for this thing that you are using, right? Then these signs move also to the mind, that as you are craving this thing and using it all the time and it's affecting your body and mind, you start also to change your thinking so that it is aligned to this substance you're using, if it's alcohol or something else, and you over prioritize it. That means now you are looking for this thing over and above every other thing. You will miss work, you will miss other responsibilities that you have to do, you'll neglect your family just because you have to look for this thing over and above other things. And then the neglect I've talked about, you start by neglecting major responsibilities. For example, if it's a student in school, they start missing classes because their major responsibilities being in school. If it's a family head, you start missing on paying some bills, meeting family obligations. And then as you go deeper into the addiction, you start also missing out on minor responsibilities and goals. For example, you start even neglecting yourself. You cannot be well kept, you do not take a bath, you do not eat well, you do not sleep. So you have neglected even yourself. And it's a continuous climb down as you continue the route of addiction. And as this happens, you become a misfit. People around you are something about it, sometimes rush the door because some of the things that are illegal substances. You may have been arrested here and there, and you are starting a battle within. Your meditation starts to go down. Meditation is the higher function of thinking, reasoning, being human. It starts to go down, your thinking starts to get diminished, and with it also your awareness about the problem you have, what we call insight. So you are deep in problems, but you think are okay. And if someone tells you that you have a problem, you say, no, I'm fine. Because your awareness, that self-awareness has also gone down. Eventually, addiction takes you to a point where now the whole of your body is in it, your mind 24 consume your soul. When you are an evangelist for addiction, you can talk to people and recruit them into addiction. You are an apologist. You have all the good reasons why weed is good, why alcohol is good, why watching pornography is good. All those things that you are addicted to, now you have become like a preacher. It has consumed your soul. And finally, there's what we call identity concordance. Identity concordance means that you change your whole identity to conform to what you use. I'll give an example. For example, people who use weed, marijuana, comes a time when they're deep in it and they even assume names that support that. They are called Rasta, Magregi, they dress in a way that identifies with the Rastafarian movement, for example, which is very famous for promoting cannabis use as something that's part of their religion. And so someone looking at you now, even before you talk, even before someone introduces you, if you are a foreigner, they start seeing that this person must be using or identifying with a particular lifestyle. At that level, it has consumed you, body, mind, and soul, and you are now at the level of addiction. So with that, we can go to what then happens once you have reached that level. When you are in that level of addiction, you develop defense mechanisms. So everyone is seeing things are not okay. You are becoming a social misfit, but you're pursuing it because you have developed internal protectors or defense mechanisms. The first one and most obvious, most families may be aware of this, is denial, that the person who has a problem completely denies that they have a problem. And they think you are the one with the problem. They think you are exaggerating it. They think it's not that bad. That is for people who can accept a little bit. Simbaya sana, you're exaggerating it. So they are in denial about the problem. Another internal protector they develop is that they rationalize. It is because of someone else. It's not my fault. Protect the sense of guilt, the ego that is being battered by the use of drugs. Some engage in recrimination. In recrimination, you or look at what I have done for you. What happens is that in recrimination, you are turning the problem which is yours to another person. So you're telling parent, for example, I would be okay if it were not for you. You are the one who caused this. When I wanted to change school, you refused. And in that school I am in, things are very stressful. So I have to use this thing to cope. So you're the one who caused it. Some withdraw, they isolate verbally and physically. They put you off, they tell you it's not your life. It has nothing to do with you. It's my money, or I can handle my situation. All those are defense mechanisms. Some of them use false promises. For example, I know what I'm doing. The day I want to stop, I'll stop. When I see it's too much, I will stop. Or right now, I don't have time to go and get help, or I don't have time to rest. So I have to use these things so that I keep awake all the time. They're making promises that things will change just around the corner when certain situations have been taken care of. But those situations never get taken care of. Defense mechanisms, they minimize discrimination. Actualization, young people who come and say, I checked on Google, some of them come to my office and come with a page of Google and say, but marijuana has been legalized in Canada, you can see it is legal, so what's the problem if I use? They're trying to intellectualize a problem and see like it is solid, it's founded in history, and so it is okay. Some of them may just be hostile. They don't want to discuss that subject. If you try to ask if this person is using something, or where were they yesterday, and could they have been so they are using diversionary tactics and being hostile so that you do not probe. public to special note of this, the predisposing factors. Addiction happens when people live in family or social systems that are enabling. And I think the last family day meeting, we talked about family systems, and we touched a bit on enabling behaviors. Enabling behaviors generally are those situations where a family does not take a firm stand against addiction that is developing. Someone is sinking into use of drugs or unusual behavior, and you don't take a firm stand. Sometimes you wish it away, you don't take action, you give excuses, and so this person finds leeway to continue. Another predisposing factor is the system, the faith systems may be permissible. For example, religion plays a great role in anchoring people in moral behavior and uprightness. But if you find situations where the adherence to religion or teachings, moral teachings is not strong, then such people, if they get exposed to drugs, they may just slide down because there's nothing to pull them back, like someone telling them done something that's against religion or morals. Then the myths and legends. Young people sometimes listen to stories out there about the good of drugs. So they will tell you if you smoke weed, then you can revise and pass your exam very, very fast. If you take alcohol, this particular alcohol, you will not get as much problems as that other one. So those are all into the use and eventual abuse by promising that things will not be bad if you do this or that. But they are not based on truth, and that's why they are called myths and legends. Peer influence. Peer influence is important. Young people, particularly when they venture out of families and they go to school or colleges, they start meeting others and then they start getting influence. And if these young people are coming from families or situations, social situations where there's a bit of enabling, the faith systems are not as strong. There are lots of myths and legends. Sometimes the myths and legends are what you have seen another family member do. Then they are most likely to go into experimenting and then they slide down. Genetics, it is known that addiction can run in families. So sometimes genetics plays a role, but I hasten to add that genetics alone would be weak if the environment is not supporting. Usually then you get the addiction developing. You have developed this way of explaining. You rationalize, you deny, you pass blame. And if those things are left to stay there and challenge, then you are getting predisposed to sink and slide deeper into addiction. So with those predisposing factors, how do people then start? They start, most of them, by experimenting. That's stage one. You want to see how it feels, and then you start. So in this time you use and stop. So you rise and fall because you have not gotten deep into it. It's common in youth. It's common when, especially these young people, expand their social groups, like they go to school, to college, they move away from home. But even at the experimental stage, and at this stage of negative or positive reinforcement will play a big role. If a young person is starting to experiment with drugs and they get positive reinforcement, that means that what these things we've said in the before addiction stage, the myths and legends are coming, the peer influence is increasing, the internal protectors are developing, they are becoming very adept at trying to explain them. They are getting positive reinforcement. If they get negative reinforcement, they are likely to get back to where they were before the addiction. And the negative reinforcement will come, for example, when the family takes a stand and say, we are seeing you are taking the wrong turn and this cannot happen. They stop what we said were enabling systems within the family social circles. If at experimentation stage someone progresses, they go to the second stage where it is a social user or a regular user of a drug or a behavior of addiction. And in this stage, there is a dichotomy. This means that the outcome can run to two. There are people who can stay in that social use, regular use stage and stagnate there. So they become social users, and those ones usually don't raise a lot of eyebrows in the society, but there are those then who will slide to the next stage, the third stage, which we'll talk about in a short while. There's no way of knowing, we cannot tell who will go which way, but the fact that you have moved one stage up to your stage 2 shows that there's a risk that you can go further. And at this stage, risky behavior starts to show itself because the use has escalated. Also, mental illnesses may start to show, particularly those drugs that affect the mind strongly, like cannabis in our system. We may start seeing that this person is not only using cannabis, but also they're having mental problems. And the physical addiction, which is the first stage of the feeling addicted, is present at this stage. In physical addiction, we said earlier, you are at the level of the body, you are craving, you have withdrawal, you have use tolerance, that means you want more and more, and your body starts to show a deterioration. That's what I mean by physical addiction. You can see it at this stage. If nothing is done, a person slides to that stage where now the addiction at this stage is at a level of abuse. We call it drug abuse or risky use, and it has affected now the mind. Sometimes the transition to this stage is very fast, and sometimes it takes time. But whatever the time frame, when it comes, you will notice that it's in the third stage. When you back, they have diminished mentation and shoot is low. Inside, the awareness that I may have, the priority, their insight dims, there are psychological changes that I have mentioned. And an important thing here is that they become hypersensitive. Hypersensitivity means to tell you that if the stage of addiction, and in the stage of addiction, you see all the classical signs of someone who can use without stopping, even when they have a problem. This person has been diagnosed, they have lung cancer, they are in the ward, but they must smoke. Even moved to now there's an internal hopelessness for change. Can be. And if they ever talk to anyone about this situation, they are like a prophet of doom. They have lost hope themselves, and all they can tell you is about that thing, like trying to get you to be one of them. So they are prophet of doom. They sink to a rock bottom from which, if something is done, they can be saved. But if nothing is done, they cannot be saved. They will sink. And we need to say that addiction kills. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
You
Yes,
can hear
yes.
me?
Yes.
Yes, I think we lost each other at some point. Can someone remind me at what point I got lost so that I can refresh and we don't get lost? Hello?
Hello.
At what point, what was I talking about when you lost me?
If the slide was there, I would remember, but now I can't see the slide either.
You got lost at stage after stage 4.
Okay, we show the slide. then you can.
Dr. Derek, can you hear me?
But before inpatient rehabilitation, so I had finished talking about the stages of addiction, right? Okay, that's fine now. So if I finish talking about the stages of addiction, so then the patient comes to our center, and we take them at whatever stage they have reached in their journey of addiction. And for us, we want first to get a glimpse of how this person has been before they got into the center. So we do ask that we would like to track the decline of the body, mind, and soul, and see at what stage this person was. We know that it's a steady decline, but they may be at one stage or another. We also would like to find out about the family or the social systems that they are in, because the families are going to play an important role. And if we see any weaknesses, like behavior that enables this person to continue with the addiction, we want to note them so that we will try to tackle them with the families. And we know that before someone is brought into the center, usually during the first stage of addiction, the second stage, maybe, some families hesitate to take action, to speak out against this behavior, because they may feel this person will be offended, or there are some things holding them back. So we call that faith with action, without action. They have faith, they pray that things will change, but they don't take action. So when the patient is finally brought at the center, we want to find out the faith without action mechanism that exists in the family, so that if we see any of it, remove it and reinforce what we call action with faith. Why this is important is because we get cases where people come into rehabilitation and they are removed before they finish, because the family still has not taken that firm stand to act. They are still stuck at the state of faith without action. So those three indicators are usually important in our assessment. And then we take in the patient after the assessment. We have categorized them to know they are at this level of addiction use. The family is going to support us in this way. We are going to support the family in this way. And this is the treatment plan that we follow. The treatment plan is personalized because people use different things. People at different stages. People have different social issues surrounding their use. People come from different families and social backgrounds. So we take them in with their individualized treatment plan. We assign a therapist who is the lead therapist, usually a counselor, who is the lead therapist, and so they are guided by the plan is achieved during the time in rehabilitation. In rehabilitation, we normally have 3 months. This is the recommendation by the government. And this 3 months period is the minimum. I emphasize this. There are some people who require longer than 3 months, especially those who have other problems apart from addiction. You may have addiction and you have developed a mental health problem, or you have another physical problem. So those people may require longer, or some people may require longer because they're still very, very strong on these defense mechanisms. They are still in great denial, they are rationalizing, they are making false promises. So some people normally, they would have been forced into the rehab, but they have not quite accepted. So those ones may take a bit longer, 3 months, and we divide, which I would like to discuss quickly and take you through our journey of recovery when they're in the center. In the first month, we usually call this the months of the body. We focus much on the physical body. We want to make you to be physically fit, healthy, and comfortable. Why? Because we know when people come in the rehab, a number of them, especially stage 3 addiction, stage 4, they are usually sick. Their body is in a storm. They have malnutrition. They can sleep well. They have craving. They have ulcers. They have abnormal preferences for food. They have mental health problems. They have stress. They have anger issues. Lots of things. So they are sick and in a state of storm. They are also still in shock and or denial, because remember, when they're going down the journey of addiction, they feel they're in control. But now that they have been brought here, it's a shock that I could be brought here. And some of them ask even their parents, they're in shock, they're in denial sometimes, and they're scapegoating. It's not me, it's another person. And as I said, physically, they are not okay. Psychologically, spiritually, they are not okay. So during that first month, we focus on the body. And for the body, the main process we do is what we call detoxification. Detoxification is a medical procedure where we apply medicines and medical therapies to stabilize the body of the addict who has come. So we remove the craving by giving medicine that would substitute the urge for cigarettes, the urge for alcohol, the urge for cannabis. We replace lost nutrients in the body because usually the addicts have a poor diet, poor feeding habits. The discipline that you are required away from hazards of health, they don't. So we diagnose, and during this month, the patient is like they would be in any hospital, get caught out. So we're building a profile of the psychological issues, the social issues that are surrounding this addiction. And then as they heal and we have our dossier building up, we move to the second stage, which is the second month. During this month, they have improved health-wise. Their weight has started to improve. Cravings are gone. They sleep better. And when families visit them, they say, sasa anaonekana vizuri, anaonekana kama mtu. Okay? But at that point, they have not started the healing of rehabilitation. And I need to emphasize this a lot, because we find parents who come and withdraw their loved ones after the first month just because sasa anaonekana vizuri, hatapiki. And sometimes these patients also take advantage of this and tell their families, "Mi sasa niko sawa, mnaweza kuchapani tu, you are just wasting your money nikikaa hapa. Hakuna kitu tunafanya, madawa nilimaliza, I'm not using medicine anymore." And we tell you, remember, this person did not come here to use medicine. If they needed to use medicine, probably would have taken them to Kenyatta National Hospital or Magadan. You brought them to rehab. And rehab is about kubadilisha tabia. We have not started on that tabia. We have just been treating huo mkono mwenye alikuja amevunjika, alianguka kama amelewa. Okay? So during the second stage, we move now to treating the mind. This is where rehabilitation is starting. Okay? And because they are physically healed and mentally they are more at ease than before, reality usually hits them that, oh, I'm in rehab. And with this reality, you get two outcomes. They can accept that something was wrong. They start feeling guilt, or they can remain defiant and say, you are wasting your time, I'll never change, I'm just here because you have forced me to talk up and end up. So reality has hit them and they accept it or they defy it. So if they accept, we are likely to succeed. If they defy and continue in defiance, we are likely to fail. But at this point, we are working so hard so that they accept. So we counsel them a lot. We bring their families also to help in the counseling and the reassuring that you are not here because of punishment. You are here to be helped. You are loved by your family and everyone. So we try to win them over psychologically. We also invite them to reflect on their lives and see how it came to this point, because that reflection also helps them to see that indeed there was a problem. And when we succeed, we start seeing a negotiation coming from them. Some of them will say, so if I can work these programs very hard, doctor, do you think I can just be released after 1 month or after another 2 weeks? And at that point, we normally say, yeah, I think it's okay. If you work and we assess, we see you're doing well, then we can recommend that you continue while you are at home. We are negotiating with them. And that negotiation to us is a sign that they are accepting. Finally, acceptance comes when they say, okay, I will stay. And some of them say very memorable things. There are those who have told us in the past that I was brought here by force, I was kidnapped. But yeah. Or some will say, I was forced to come here, but now I've decided I will stay. So they come with acceptance, and especially when we have involved the family like we normally do, so that they see that with the family and they are still loved and accepted when they leave. Their place in the family is not lost, and they're not going to be shamed or embarrassed because of what they did. If we negotiate this successfully, we go to the 3rd month where the rehabilitation continues and we start tackling issues of the soul as well. And for us, this is where healing starts. Because remember, rehabilitation is what we are doing to the patient, but healing is what is happening internally to the patient. And healing is a function of rehabilitation and other forces. The family comes in, spirituality, God comes in. Remember, we say we treat as doctors or hospitals treat, but God heals. So the process of healing is multidimensional. It starts usually at the 3rd month when you see that this patient now is starting to experience peace and calm. They're starting to show hope for a better future. They're starting to change their thinking, their outlook to things. Their relationships are changing. Family reunions, if they were loggerheads with the family, now they can talk, they can apologize, they can hug each other and cry and talk about things that went wrong. They start making plans, goals for the future. I want to go back and recoup what I lost. I want to go back to school. I want my wife back. I want to go back to my job. I want to reopen my business. So they are awakening and making plans and goals. And with it also a spiritual rebirth, which we push for a lot because we are a religious-oriented rehabilitation center. We are anchored in the Christian faith, and we have a lot of spiritual nourishment that goes in, including even having a church service every week on Friday afternoon in the center. And the minister who comes to minister to our patients is one of our counselors. So we inject a lot of spiritual energy into what we do together with the counseling and the other processes. And this is very evident in the 3rd month when we start seeing the results as the patient experiences a spiritual rebirth. If we negotiate the 3rd month successfully, we are about ready to discharge the patient, because remember I said rehabilitation is about 3 months minimum. And so at this stage, we also start planning for discharge planning and relapse prevention, one of the things we do. And in this, we work closely with the families so that the families are aware about the things they may have been doing which were making the addiction to continue. They are also aware of the things they can do to support this person when they are out, to regain their livelihood. For students go back to school, employment, to regain their families, but also so that they feel that they are accepted and not made to pay for their past ills forever. It's very important at this stage to have that as the recovery plan. And for the patient who would like to know what they plan to do, they make their out of center plans, the discharge plan, which is like a business plan. So if it's a student, they missed school, they have dropped out, they will tell us we want to go back, and we are challenging them. So are you going back in second year or in third year? But you remember you have an exam you didn't do. If it's a job, you lost your job, I want business. What kind of business are you going to do? Where are you going to get finances? So it's a wholesome discussion which helps to open the patient's eyes to reality so that they don't get a false sense of hope, which is one of the risks that can happen here. Someone leaves the rehab and they are full of hope, and the family is full of hope because they have never seen this person looking this good. This person has never been sober for 3 months. So now they're feeling like a miracle has happened and the miracle will just continue. During this stage of discharge planning, we anchor them in reality to know that, yes, the miracle will continue, but you have to work. You have to do your bit to make it continue. Then after the discharge planning has been completed, we discharge the patient. We give them a certificate of completion, and we let them go out into the new one for what we call the after rehabilitation period. The first 6 months are very critical for us. We follow these patients closely because at this point, a patient who has done well and has left with a healing, with renewed hope, and the family is also very hopeful, they go out with ambition. They just want to fly. They want to achieve. They want to catch up on what they lost. They're thinking of engineering themselves and never go back. But we know that the world out there usually has not changed. The friends you used to drink with or do those behaviors with, most likely some of them, if not all of them, are still out there. So we know that this renewed energy and hope will meet some challenges out there, and we avail ourselves to support these people when they go out together with their families. So we will have worked with the families to make it stronger and able to support their loved one. That's the first step. We also link the families and the patients to support groups out there. You've heard of groups like Alcoholic Anonymous, Narcotic Anonymous, these social groups of people who have turned around. They were addicts and they turned around. We have them and we link them to these groups. We also have our own group here of alumni, people who have, and I've seen some people online. I can see Tijan. Tijan, can you say hello?
Hello.
Hello, okay. Tijan is one of our former patients. And so we have that group, we link them up, and we also engage with them actively as a center. We link up with them, we talk to them regularly on phone. We invite them to come to our center to visit us, to encourage the ones who have been there. During family days like today, we invite them. That's how someone like Tijan is here today. So we link them up with support systems from within the center and within the family and outside the family. But then we know that sometimes they may sleep. Sometimes they also may relapse. And this is a question I've been asked. You guarantee that they cannot unatibu tu hawezi rudia hizo vitu tena? No, we cannot guarantee. We are not miracle workers, we are doctors. So when you come and say you have malaria, I can treat you for malaria, but I can't guarantee that you have malaria tena. You may go and you are bitten by a mosquito. But we do our utmost best, and we know that when the family is involved, and all the issues that surrounded the addiction have been explored, then the chances of relapse are usually diminished. However, relapses occur sometimes. It's not a full relapse, it's what we call a slip. A slip is where someone has been walking the light, then one day something happens and they tip over and they go drink a bit, they come back home, they are appearing drunk. If you ask them, they accept, yeah, what happened? I don't know what happened. I went and this and this. So it's just, and they're remorseful. They're feeling like it was a misjudgment, and they are willing to work not to have it happen again. That is a slip. It's not a relapse. A relapse is where someone has now abandoned the new way they were walking and they have gone back to the old ways, the old friends, the old habits, the old reasoning, and they are now defiant and resistant to the new information they had gotten. For us, a slip, a relapse, those are still our people. We welcome them. And that's why I wrote here, rehab again. Yes, sometimes rehab has to come again for a second time, sometimes for a third time. And there are even records of people who have been rehab many, many times, okay? Because of these slips and relapses. When people relapse, our patients, or we get information someone has relapsed, we invite them to come to the center immediately. If it is just for if it's just a slip, we do what we call a reset. We want to know what is this thing that triggered this sleeping, kuteleza. And it may be a new experience that this person was not prepared for, a challenge that they had never experienced before, and it took them a bit far. So we explore this, and we use that as a learning lesson so that similar challenges, they can overcome them without having to slip back into addiction. So a reset sometimes can take a week, a few days, just in the center, they cool off, we talk, and then they leave. A relapse is where someone has gone to the old ways, and in that case, we may consider to treat them again, to start all over again and go through the 3 months. So we assess clearly to see where this person is, what has caused, and we see what we may need, including how much time. So the after rehabilitation period, especially the first 6 months, are critical. We work closely, like I said, with the families and the patients who have left. And if they negotiate it very well, they graduate to another after rehab period where we are not as close as we were, but we are still with them. They become like elders. They become like resource persons for the center. We have some patients who are with us 9 years ago in rehabilitation, and they have been 9 years clean, sober. So they are like our elders. We call them when we need them to come and help those ones who are there. But we don't closely follow them like when they are in the first 6 months, which is very critical. So generally, this is our journey. As I conclude, I will mention that at the time they are leaving, there is usually an option to give an implant. An implant is something that you can insert in the body let me just write it here, implant, is a medicinal application, medicine, which is put under the body and then the skin, not under the body, under the skin, and it is absorbed slowly. What it does, it reduces the enjoyment that anyone would get from using drugs. So anyone who has that medicine in their system, if you went taking beer or smoking cigarettes, you will find that the enjoyment you are getting from it is not like it used to be. And in addition, you may experience some unpleasant effects. You may feel this thing is making me feel nauseated, this thing is making me feel very hot, I'm uncomfortable. So it's an extra protection, especially for those who have accepted and we are likely to succeed. They are hopeful, they have goals and plans, they are with their family, and they just want that extra push. Otherwise, we don't recommend it for someone who is defiant, refusing, because that person will go drinking or smoking with the implant in their body, and then we will get a call that maybe some things are not happening right, they're experiencing some discomfort, and that is not good. So I'll conclude there the journey of addiction and the journey of recovery inside rehabilitation center. Then, as I exit and finish my presentation, I would just like to mention some statements which we call powerful statements that help in addiction development and addiction rehabilitation. We call them powerful because they have the power in them. If you reflect on them deeply, they have the power to change your outlook to things. Not because they are powerful, they are big. No, they have an inherent power if you reflect deeply on them. The first two are about addiction itself, and the last two are about addiction rehabilitation, which is what we've been talking about today. So the first one is that sobriety delivers what addiction promised. Reflect on this. When you are drinking, you are using drugs, sometimes you have very lofty ideas because drugs make your head to spin, and they remove inhibitions, and they make you have fantastic ideas. You see the world as very rosy, and so you start thinking how you will be this big person and you will achieve this and I will do this. If you listen to people in a drinking place, they rarely talk sad stories. Most of them talk about big things, and they brag and they show how they know. They are watching a game of football and they know how their team will win, and the others they are usually big talkers. But the interesting thing is that these big talkers rarely do anything because they just drink and talk. Then they get drunk, they go home and sleep. They wake up with a hangover and they want to drink some more and talk some more. So they have no time for action but just drink. So this statement reminds us that those things you are promising when you are addicted, you will only deliver or achieve them when you become sober. The second statement, your superior knowledge and your being in control got you where you are today. This is mainly directed at the patients themselves. When they are in denial, rationalizing, I know what I'm doing, it's my money, I'll stop when I want. You are exaggerating. When they are saying that, they show like they are really in control, they know things, they have a superior knowledge. But as their superior knowledge in quotes and they're being in control in quotes continues, they slide and slide into addiction until they have to be brought into rehab. sometimes forcefully by the family, sometimes we get through court orders, probation officers, sometimes the police. And so this is a statement to interrogate your conscience that if really addiction gives you a superior knowledge and makes you be in control, how come you got yourself in rehab? If you are that superior, that in control, you should probably be in a big office running a big organization, or you should even be the president of the country if you are that knowledgeable. You should win a Nobel Prize. You should give us medicine for COVID. COVID is killing us now. So your superior knowledge and being in control should help you achieve those things. But if it's not and it's gotten you into rehab, then maybe we have to really doubt that knowledge and being in control that you're talking about. And this statement is also good for families so that you don't let the people who are in addiction be the one leading you. I've had families come and say, acha tu nitamuongelesha, unajua sasa sitaki akasirike, sitaki aone mimi ndio nimekuja nikamleta hapa. Some even come and tell us that they want us to go and take their loved ones and bring to rehab, but they don't want to be involved. Ati sitaki ajue ni mimi nimewaita, kwa hivyo mimi nitawaonyesha tu mahali anakunywanga, alafu nyinyi mjue vile mtamuongelesha ama mshike. Because you think this person in addiction still has a superior knowledge or they are in control. And this statement is telling you they are not in control, they don't have superior knowledge. Please take control, take over, because that person you are relying on hawezi na hatafanya. The third statement, rehabilitation is not a touch and go. Rehabilitation is not like you go to a canteen and buy Panadol because you have headache, because that action is a touch and go. Nipatie Panadol na unameza hapo na unaendelea na trip. Rehabilitation is a reality check. Number 4. When you get into rehabilitation or you reach stage of rehabilitation, you have to stop what you are doing and think. It's a reality check. You have to reflect what really happened. How did we get ourselves into this? How can we extricate ourselves from this situation, or myself from this situation? So you can't come to rehabilitation and you want a cure within a week because you run a busy business, because you have exams, because you have so many things. If those things that you want to do are important, you would be doing them and you would have not needed to come to rehabilitation. So it's not a touch and go, it's a reality check. And this message has to go in very well to everyone. And so when you are in rehab, it is not an endurance trek. Point number 4, statement number 4. You are not just coming here kuvumilia. Ninavumilia tu miezi 3 iishe. No, you've not come to endure. You've come for a reality check. We want to challenge you to think different from what you've been thinking, to act different from how you've been, because the way you have been acting and thinking has caused problems. And so it cannot continue. You cannot get something right by doing the wrong thing over and over and over. If you have tried to call someone whose phone is switched off, or someone who has blocked you, or someone whose phone is busy because they are talking to someone, even if you keep dialing every 2 seconds, your call will not connect because you are doing it over and over and over. Something else will have to happen before that call can connect. So if you come and you just endure, you don't see like this is a challenge towards a new reality, then you will not change at all. Thank you very much for listening to me, and I would hand it back to the moderator for the discussion and the rest of the program.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Ari, for that insightful presentation. I will take this opportunity in the interest of time to hand this to Ellen so that she can lead the next phase of the discussion. Ellen, are you there?
Yes, yes, I'm here. Okay, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Ari for the information that we've just gotten concerning the process of addiction and the process of recovery. And maybe just to add on to something like, we don't just start choosing today and get addicted tomorrow. It's something that happens over time. Sometimes we might not even know when it started, but along the way, we just find ourselves addicted, and the process has been explained to us very well. So I would also like to invite maybe the former clients that we had invited. I can see Tijan. I also saw Jemima, but I don't know if she's in connected, but we can start with TJ. Maybe he can tell us how he's doing so far with regards to recovery, since we've just seen that it's full of challenges as well. So TJ.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Hello? Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, Tijan, we can hear you. Kindly go ahead.
Okay, hi. As Helen has introduced me, yes, Kisilo. Okay. I would just say right now I am just over a year sober. I had my first year, as we say in AA, on the 22nd of August. So this has been the first time in my life, I can say, since I started drinking, that I've actually been sober for just over a year, which I think is it's a miracle in and of itself. But as Daktari says, these are things that you need to work towards, and I can't say that it has been easy, but it has been very rewarding. My life now, if I look at it between how it was 1 year ago and how it is now, it's a completely different situation, and I'm so surprised sometimes. I just wake up and I reflect on how things have been, and I also start to look at how I was before, and I just look at myself like, you were so silly. How could you think that what you used to do and the life that you used to live was actually going to be happy, that you were actually going to be able to say this is the life that you wanted? No, no. You know, as I think in one of the recovery stages, there's a point where we reflect, and I had to reflect, and I think my big problem was I enjoyed my addiction because it helped me run away from the response. So the people at Fountain of Hope know my situation a bit more in depth. I suffered a trauma which I think catalyzed everything and just made that steep decline go a little faster. Yeah, I felt then that life had shown me that no matter how much I can control things, there's still some elements that are beyond my control. So I justified it and I said, well, since I can't control it, since I tried anyway and it didn't work, what's the point in trying to manage my life and be responsible and be dutiful if even if I put in all the work, God will just come in and change things for me. So that was my excuse. And so I watched myself over a slow period, starting in 2012 till I'd say last year, just watching the slow decline, watching the things that I loved and cared most about slowly disappear one by one. You know, respect, friendships, family trust, family, affection. I started to lose job opportunities. I started to lose respect. My health, even though it was already in a very precarious condition because of the physical consequences of my accident, I still made it worse. I suffered a seizure. God knows what else could have happened, seriously, if I had just kept on that path. And so I watched things just disappear until I remember just before I came to rehab, I literally didn't have anything, like I used to see these looks from my mom, and it was just this look of utter disappointment because she had seen how I was as a child. She'd seen how I'd grown up, and she had a lot of belief that I could do something with my life and be someone. And then she could see that this was not what she had hoped for, what she prayed for. And she just couldn't believe how we had gotten here, you know. And I think I could say my dad felt the same. And some of my friends who were honest enough to talk to me, they told me the same thing. So coming into rehab, in fact, at that point, I also felt I didn't stress, I didn't fight it. I wasn't in a lot of denial, but maybe my form of defense mechanisms were a bit more complicated. But it was a lot easier then to get into the program, to try and understand why I was there, what I had done wrong, what I needed to change, starting from my belief systems right at the foundational level, and then try and pick up the pieces and see where things would go right, you know. So I left rehab. I managed to do 4 months the first time, and I won't call it a slip because I think I went straight into relapse. I remember just telling myself I tried it, it failed, and I think this just might be what my life will be. If death is going to be this thing that follows next, then so be it. I had gotten to that point of utter and complete defeat. In fact, it caused me some other issues. I ended up being in cell for a few days. It was like the low point of my life, really. And as Dr. had said, I was told, this time I was told to come back to rehab for a reset. And I did. I came back to read the rehab for 2 weeks. I was still walking that tight line of deciding, am I going to fall on the right side of the street where recovery is possible, where I can live this life of being responsible for my actions and being, you know, proactive and useful to society, or will I fall back the other side and I already know my own version of hell and the pain I can cause not only for myself but also for myself and my loved ones. I think I made the right choice, or maybe it was not even my choice. Maybe it was my higher power that was looking out for me, but I fell to the right side. And once I left rehab after that reset, I looked at what I did wrong during the first 4 months of sobriety. I went to AA. I managed to get myself a sponsor very quickly. He advised me to try and do 90 meetings in 90 days, which I did without fail, a meeting every single day. I had to reorganize my structure and my life, not to make excuses that there were other things that were more important, because what you'll realize as an addict, if you don't put your recovery first, then you're not going to succeed. The most important thing you can be not only to yourself but to everybody else in your life is to be someone who is looking after their recovery. You must put the recovery first. And I believe in 90. In fact, I overlapped and I did about 120 meetings in 120 days. And then the promises, as we know from Alcoholics Anonymous, started to appear. I started to get some time. I started to regain that sense of trust. Duties and responsibilities were being put on my shoulders, which meant that people believed that I had the capability that they had once seen in me. And yeah, things just started to slowly come back. And I slowly started to reduce the number of times I went for AA meetings, but I still kept the meetings going. I found that I had formed new friends and new social groups with people who didn't try and distract me. And it's now a lot easier to just look at people and tell them, you know, if someone offers you a drink and just say, that's not me. That's not me, you know, and not feel any guilt, not feeling that there's something you have to prove, or not feeling ashamed of yourself and saying that you're not a man. You know, most men can drink, you can't drink, so you should just drink. So no, there's no excuses you need to be making for anybody. You just need to be at one with yourself and with your version of God, and trust that you're making the right choice. And so 1 year down the road, I am more happy than than I've been in such a long time. I have my studies are going fantastic. I managed to get back the job that I had first lost on on my journey with alcoholism. And that seemed like a very good sign for me. To be able to get that just showed me that they've been watching, they've been seeing how things have been going, and they can see a complete difference in the way I handle myself now than the way I was before. Not just superficially on the surface, but at a foundational level. And so I have work, I have studies, I'm planning to move out and become even more independent and responsible for myself. I plan to start 2021 in my own place with my own car, doing the job that I've wanted for a long time, having my family support me, having my friends support me, and those are the things that you want. I like that first quote, one of the sayings: sobriety delivers what addiction promised. For addicts, we believe that we want the short life, we want the thrill, the high intensity, the emotions, just having the good life. That's what we call it at that point. um, and we think, then let's take the shortcut, let's rewire our reward mechanisms and just cheat our brain and just become addicts and get it that way. But you never really achieve that feeling of happiness. It's short-lived that way. What you realize is just being sober, being in control and working hard towards those things that you want, that's the reward that truly gives you that sense of happiness. And so me, I'm very happy to say that I've been sober a year. It seems like the longest amount of time from my perspective, but in the long scheme of things, it's a drop of water in the ocean. You realize that the most important thing you can do is just to be sober each and every day. Don't even think about counting the days or the number, the weeks or the months of how long you've been sober. Just try and live one day sober. Try and live it to the best of your ability, being accountable for your actions, being honest about who you are, not being truly selfish, but trying to find a balance where you don't compromise your values and your ethics, but where you're also still you're useful to people in your life, to society in general. If you can find a way to do one day like that and replicate that and do each day in that kind of manner, what you realize is after not too long, you will have the kind of life that you thought addiction was going to give you. That kind of happiness that you were looking for in that bottle, in the thrills of the fast life. That's what you're going to find in that sober life when you live one day at a time sober with those kind of principles. So I've learned it's a very good thing to pat yourself on the back if you even managed to be sober for a week, sober for a month. Nobody knows the journey like you. So you know the importance of being able to be sober for a week, being able to be sober for a month. So you should pat yourself on the back and then just say, eventually I'd like to pat myself when it's gotten to a month, to a year. The next time you might pat yourself and say, I've already hit 5. And before you know it, you'll be like one of the Alcoholics Anonymous members that I really look up to, who I see on Sunday meetings in Westlands Primary. He's been sober for over 43 years. That's more than twice my age, almost, yeah. So those are the things that I look forward to. So I think that's all I have to say. Thanks for letting me speak. I hope I've been useful. Yeah, I'll give it back to you guys.
Okay, thank you so much, TJ, for that wonderful sharing. It's so motivating and encouraging to know that maybe you surpass the odds to at least be 1 year sober. That is so. Yes, I can also see Jemima. I don't know if you guys are able to maybe greet us and share something small.
Hello, hi.
Jemima, yes. Yes.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Jemima. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. So my journey so far has been challenging. My patience has been tested severally. But I've been sober for a couple of 100 days now, and I'm happy about that. The only thing that I can tell the guys who are in recovery or who are in rehab right now is you need to be selfish in the sense that you need to make everything about you, because the moment you start including external factors, you might end up relapsing. I had a lapse after I left rehab. I think 2 months after I left, I had a lapse. And it was really, really bad. But I picked myself up and everything has been working out for me so far. The thing they need to know, or at least what I went through, is when you need to be selfish, you need to think of everything about you. You need to look at the counselors that you have there, the doctors. They're probably just doing their job. They probably don't know exactly what you're going through internally. So you have to think of it like they're doing their job to help you. When you think about your family, you might feel a lot of guilt for what you put them through. For me, I kept thinking the amount of time they wasted coming to see me almost twice, 3 times a week, the amount of money they spent, that actually contributed to my relapse. Okay, just a lapse, not a relapse, a lapse. Because I kept feeling guilty about what they were doing. So to some extent, I had to really work hard to stop thinking about what they're feeling or what they went through and just focus on myself. And right now I'm at peace. I'm at peace with what they did. I appreciate that. I can actually think about it without feeling bad. And probably sometimes I'll feel like, as a family, I might have done the same thing for them. So the only thing you need to think about is your recovery. As TJ said, your recovery comes first. Everything else is secondary. Something else, you need to find something, you need to think of something to fight for. You need to think of your life. You need to start remembering while you were in high school, you are full of a lot of dreams. There is something that you really wanted to do with your life. There is something you wanted to achieve. So if you can focus on that, try to go back those many, many years back and try to think what you really wanted to achieve. That can be something that you can hold on to, something that you can focus on rebuilding. So far, for me, I think I've found working to be a saved person, going to church. The spiritual aspect is what I'm more focused on because it's one thing that science can't explain. So I'm trying to focus on figuring out exactly what is happening to me, why it happened to me, and how I can help myself. So for me, spirituality is actually working. The Bible is something I'm working with. So yeah, you need to find something to focus on. Also, if you get to relapse, it's very hard. It's very embarrassing. The guilt again is, it can make you feel like you don't even want to come out of wherever hole you've dug yourself into again. But there are always people that you can reach out to. You can reach out to your family, some friends, not all of them. Because for me, my lapse was actually because of friends. But there are some that I'm very sure everyone has a friend or two they can count on. Your family, your pastors. So basically, you just need to focus on yourself. Find something that you want to fight for, something that you feel like it's worth to fight for. So far, I don't know. I feel like it's been a roller coaster so far. A lot of things have been happening, but at least I'm sober. And then another thing about being sober, it's like you see things very clearly. You see things that maybe when you're not sober, you are not actively present when some things were happening. But now that you are there emotionally, physically, you're present, they might actually lead you to relapse. you might find out that the relationships that you really messed up with while being on drugs and all that. For me right now, I've made amends with most of the relationships, except with my sister. I'm still working on that, but it hurts. It still hurts. And the good thing is I have other sisters, so I probably won't relapse because of that one. But still, you will need to face everything the way it comes, because some things that you did while not sober will come back to haunt you. What else do I need to talk about my journey? Helen, anything else?
That's okay. I'm so glad to see you. You look so good. Thank you so much for sharing. It's a blessing. And I like what you're saying, that we need to find something to keep us going. Actually, if we can't stay sober for anything else, let us find something to keep us going. And I like that you've already found that in spirituality, and everything is going on well for you. There were challenges, there are ups and downs, and I appreciate that maybe you are able to overcome them to come into terms with the challenges, and now you are here today to tell the story. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So I don't know, Paul or Chris. Chris, I see you are on. And Paul. Okay. Any other former client, maybe because I can see.
Can you hear me, Helen?
Who is that? Oh, Maura, yes. Yes, I can see you. I can hear you as well.
Thank you very much. I think I'll just put in a few words of appreciation. I've been through Fountain for about 30 days. But I would say, okay, I did not finish the whole 90 days I was expected to, but it had an impact. The 30 days had an impact on me. And I'll say I was so deeply into the addiction. Just before I came in there, I was so unhealthy physically, spiritually, I was so unhealthy. Also, everything was just bad. But after the 30 days, and I've gone through a lot. I've had some relapses, but I came to learn everything is just in your mind. It's the way you're going to put your mindset, the way you're going to tell yourself, and also have a cohesive family setup. You learn who is your friend and who is not your friend. Who are you supposed to interact with? But I'll say all in all, today I came to start liking the good things. Vis-a-vis the last time I used to like when I'm going to the wrong friends and the wrong places and having very bad relations in the family. But today I'll always wake up very early and I miss to go to work. Like you can see right now, I'm just seated behind the counter at my shop. I've been here since 7 in the morning and I always leave late, almost at 6:30 in the evening. I'll just say thank you, Helen and Kinapesh and the rest. I hope they are still there, Sammy. You did some good work. And also, I would say congratulations to Dr. Ambulundu, who is also very advisory, very knowledgeable about the addictions. I would say, just ciao. Anybody else who has got this kind of problem, just go to Fountain and you'll be solved. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much, Chris Maura. It's all about being positive, keeping a positive mindset, and keeping busy. I like the way that you're keeping busy, and you're busy in your shop, which is very good. Keep it up, and thank you for sharing. So, do we have any other former clients in the? Okay, I don't know, Paul left or.
So like Mushina's hand was up. Would you like to say something? Mushina, was your hand up? Okay, go ahead, Ellen.
Okay, so I'll also give my team a chance to greet the greet all of us. So here we have Augustus. You can just introduce yourself by one name, and then we continue. So just introduce yourself. You can share with me to give us this once, and then we pass on.
Hello,
Hello.
I'm Augustus.
Hi.
Everyone,
Hi, Augustus.
hi, hi.
Thank you, Augustus.
My name is Eric. I serve in a bit.
Hi, Eric.
Hi.
Hello everyone. My name is Penina.
Hi, Pesh.
And I'm happy
Hi,
because of
Penina.
you. Yeah, I'm so glad to see you and see you pushing on. And we wish you the very best. And you're always welcome.
Thank you.
Hello. My name is Ben. I'm also a retired addict. Thank you for
Hi.
Okay, so that's my team here. The others are not able to join us, but they'll join us soon. So thank you so much. I take it back to Madam Catherine.
Thank you very much, Ellen. Now I welcome the family members. Please give us your inputs if you have any comments. It's your turn now. In any order, you can, there's no order, just unmute yourself and give us your input, your comment, your questions, your encouragement to our family and the family outside there. Feel most welcome. Yes, Violet, you'd like to go ahead?
Yeah, I can go ahead. Thank you so much, both Daktari and Kathy, and even the people who have spoken. I was shedding some tears when Tijan and Jemima were talking, because Catherine and Daktari, I think you know what I've been through.
Yes.
And it is just quite, I'm encouraged by Tijan, and if possible, I would like Tijan to speak to Wesley. I'd like to get in touch with him.
Sure thing, you can get in touch with me.
Just to give him a boost up, because mine has been a journey. On behalf of my son, he's not been able to join you because he's very ill. The illness of his own making, he is not able to. But I'm grateful for Fountain of Hope and the journey that we are on, and even for inviting me despite the fact that my son is already discharged. I just wanted to find out, like Daktari, when somebody is getting an implant, they're supposed to be clean. And the fact that they have intoxicated themselves, how long would it take for them to get back to normal? Maybe that's a question I can ask. But for the rest of the people who are in the rehab, Tijan, thank you so much for that testimony. And even Jemima and the rest who have spoken. I'm just encouraged. I look at it like it's normal for a relapse to be there, or for people to try here and there, and sometimes they don't even know the dangers of how they're putting themselves. Like Daktari said, we do much as parents, as therapists, but the decision to move on actually lies with somebody who has a problem. Because we can't live for our children as much as we want to give them the best, but they have to do their own actions. So thank you so much, Catherine. I pray that I will get through where I am. It's a bit tricky, but I pray that I'll get through it. Thank you.
Thank you, Violet, and Paul Sandra, for what you're going through. to be well. Tijan will share your number. I'll share Violet's number, or you can write it on the chat. Actually, they can pick it from there, and then you'll be in touch.
Sure, I'll do that.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tijan, for agreeing. And when someone has an implant and they introduce a substance into the body, now it takes the normal physiological process for that substance to be digested and to get out of the body. Unfortunately, if you keep on introducing the substance, then it takes much longer. That's why we advise people, before you have an implant, you need to be clean. You shouldn't have any drugs in your system. And then you shouldn't introduce drugs after that. But even if you introduce, actually what happens is the discomfort, you will get sick. The vomiting, the weakness of the body is what you get, but it's not life-threatening. It does not threaten the life, but it causes you discomfort, which is supposed to work as a negative reinforcement for you not to introduce more drugs into the body. So that's how it works. So the floor is still open. And inputs from the family members. Margaret, I know it's late for you. Would you like to greet us?
Yes, good afternoon, everyone.
Good
Is it
afternoon.
morning there or afternoon?
Just about to get to afternoon. It's 13 minutes to afternoon.
Okay, so it is still in the morning session there in Kenya. Here it's around 4:47 a.m. in America. My name is Margaret. I am mother to Benson, who is currently in the rehab for rehabilitation. I am so glad I'm happy to register my what would I say? I am very happy and about the speech or the presentation that was given by Dr. Kalande. It has been so inspiring. I've gone through it very well as he spoke. And what touched me most was the last bit of it where he said about the 4 powerful statements that sobriety delivers what addiction promised. That is very powerful as he spoke about it. And he also said that the knowledge one has cannot help you. Yeah. You need to okay, your superior knowledge and being in control, yeah, got you where you are today. He said about that. And he also said that rehab is not a touch and go. You need to work for it. And as Tijan has said, that you really need to work hard over the addiction. I am happy that you have gone through the rehabilitation, though you went through some, he said he went through some relapse or sleep or something like that. And he has now learned that all what he had lost, the respect, the trust, the job opportunities which were lost have come back because of hard work. I would say if Tijan could get connected maybe to my son who is still in the rehab, maybe through maybe WhatsApp or phone call, maybe give advice, maybe give some advice, I would appreciate so much. thank you for Jemima. She's also gone through the rehab, and I know she has a bright future. She should not worry. And I am happy that she has said she feels good. Whatever else that has remained, God is going to work it out. She has also said it all starts with you. It's through handwork. Obviously, you can't stop something. Somebody cannot stop it for you. You need you to start it from yourself. It should be from within. I've also listened to Chris. He gave an appreciation of what the institution has done for him. And he said the change starts in the mind. It's all about the mind. It's all about what you have in the mind. So it all starts in the mind. He also saying that he left those things which were of no use to him. Some relationships he had to put them off. He also saying he kept himself busy. You know, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. So when you are idle, you always think of things which can keep you busy. So it's good to keep yourself busy. It's good to keep yourself busy. Leave those relationships which don't help you. And also, the way you are said, it all starts in the mind. You have to know this is good for me, this is bad for me. And above all, my prayer is, as many have said, is that God sees us through. There is nothing you can do on your own. And I'm happy that the institution has a service which is on Friday, every Friday. I've also listened and heard something like that.
Yes.
And I'm happy that the leader of the fellowship or the church service that they have is conducted by one of the counselors. And I am sure those who are there right now going through the rehab, they should be attentive and grab something. You know, when you're serious, and the rehab is not a comfort zone. You don't want to be there for all our time. In fact, you feel so bad, as Tijan has said, it feels bad when you go back to where you came from. It feels bad. So I am very happy to see the progress. Many have maybe said that this rehab or this center, when you see it, you might think this is just a small place. This is just a rehab which doesn't have much. But with me, I can see it has a lot. And I am very thankful for the team, the wonderful team of this rehab, and what they are doing is really good. Thank you for the great support you've offered. Thank you for all you're doing for my son. I'm happy also. And it's my prayer that he will be a better person in the future. Thank you very much, all of you. I think it's because I'm feeling a bit sleepy because I had to keep awake from evening until now. I was not able to sleep because I was doing some other work. I came from work a bit late, around 7, from morning to 7, and in the US it's hectic. So that's all I have to say for now.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. And we really appreciate the kind words. We will continue to do our best. And I want to assure you that Benson is working the program. And we are sure he will do well. Mushina, is your hand up? Please speak to us, even to greet us. Unmute yourself. Are you able to unmute? Okay, maybe it's up by mistake. This technology has issues. The floor is still open. I want to appreciate Evelyn Butui. I see you are able to join in. Thank you very much for your time. Would you like to say a word to us?
I'll just talk very briefly. I'm not really able to talk much, and just say thank you for inviting me to the meeting. It's really good to hear all the experiences of what is going on, and I mean it's wonderful to know there's actually hope to move to the next level. It's good to see also the young people finding the purpose and actually moving on. It's really touching. And I mean, I feel for Violet, I really could understand what she's going through, but I think this is the right place, and God will take over, God will take control. So thank you so much for inviting me. It's really good to be here.
Thank you and most welcome. We look forward to meeting you and your brother on Monday. Beverly, your hand is up. Matella, kindly go ahead. Yes, go ahead now. Maybe technology challenges. As she's getting herself together, anybody else? Marilyn, you'd like to say something?
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Marilyn.
Hi, you can hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm Marilyn Malabo. I'm mom to Emmanuel. Emmanuel is doing, just finishing his, just about to finish his second month. I am grateful to God to have found such a center, Hope Center. And I am also very grateful to the institution, everybody, the doctors, the nurses, everybody, because the first 2 months, it was like try and error. It was very confusing. And I thank God. What I appreciate about them is their professionalism. That's the word, eh? And I don't have much to say, but what I can say is as mothers and parents, caregivers, it is usually very, very straining. We also get very sick because there are things we are dealing with. We don't know what to do. We get emotionally drained. But I want to thank God that since we came to the center, it has been very helpful. This is the second meeting we are having. It is very encouraging. It is very inspiring. And I can say thank you very much, even for the former clients, Tijan, Jemima, the other ones. Thank you so much. It is so encouraging. It has shed some light. I am encouraged to know that it's not a one-day thing. It is a journey. And what I have noticed is that we all work together as a community. And even, the former clients, I hope you have a program whereby maybe you invite them to come and encourage the others. And one of the things Dr. Kalada said is that it is true, doctors treat, but God is Jehovah Rapha, is the one who brings the healing. So I just want to encourage everybody that there is a God in heaven who sees the tears, even the mothers. Victoria, be encouraged. You are not alone. And we all work together. Let's work together as a community. Let's join our hands. Let's encourage, our children. And even it is, even there are people out there who don't know whether there are such centers who help. There are people with children. They don't know what to do. Maybe we can also, if we know somebody, to encourage them, to know them. I don't know, because they see stigma about the rehab. But most of them, they didn't even know what to do. It's a sickness. So let's go out and encourage others. And I just want to thank each and everybody. It is very encouraging, and, I'm encouraged. Yeah, there is hope. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Marilyn, for the kind words, and we really appreciate all the support. You have been very supportive in the program. When parents are involved in the program, it makes our work much easier. And thank you for the family members for keeping the faith. Beverly, are you able to speak now? Beverly?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Okay, so my name is Beverly. I'm a student. I'm studying psychology at Daystar. I was invited to the meeting by Dr. Kalande, and I'm very thankful for that because I have learned so much and I've been inspired by everyone, all the recovery patients, and I've been encouraged by Jemima, Tijan, and Chris, all of them, and their journey has been very inspiring. And for the work you're doing, I am very, the work you're doing is very good, yeah. So thank you for the opportunity, and I'm rooting for everyone in recovery. Yes.
Thank you for finding time, and visit us while you can. We're looking forward to meeting you. Okay, so anyone else, so that we don't lock anybody out?
Hello?
Yes, Ellen.
Yes, I saw, okay, Jemima had something for the parents. I've seen
Yes.
it in the chat.
Okay.
So maybe we can give her an opportunity.
Go ahead.
Okay, so just to talk about what my mom went through, now that I can actually pause and see what she went through. The first time I went to town by myself after leaving rehab, that was like 2 weeks after leaving rehab. I went to town at 11 a.m. and I was back at 3 p.m. My mom called me 17 times. I had 17 missed calls from her. I thought that I was back with my friends, doing nasty things. The first thing that she told me when I walked into the house was, you know, the reason I kept calling you is because I love you and I don't want you to go back to doing whatever, maybe go to hospital. At that point in time, I was sober, I was not high. But the only thing that I was feeling is like I was feeling suffocated and I was very frustrated that she kept calling, she kept calling my friends, asking where I was. So at that time, I didn't appreciate, like I felt like I was being suffocated, like I was being monitored. And that was not even funny at that time. Okay, right now we can laugh about it, but towards the first few days, it was really, really bad. But one thing she did, she didn't make everything about herself, which was actually very helpful. She let me have all the attention that I needed, and it actually helped. To some extent, it helped. But the only thing I can tell parents is, I've seen my mom cry. I haven't seen my mom cry since I was born, for like 29 years. But for me, she cried. So it was actually one of the things that made me go back to taking alcohol and all that. But we sat down after a few days, we talked, actually just opened up to her. I think I was holding a lot of resentment towards her. We are 10 siblings. So I kind of piled up some resentment towards her. So my point is, probably there's something, it might be something minor, it might even be something that you don't know is going on between the two, between your kid and you. Maybe there's something, there's a disconnection somewhere. All I can say is you will need to figure it out and work on it. Because right now, my mom got saved because of me going into alcoholism and all that. I go to church with her every Sunday. I can talk to her about anything, but not everything, not all, not yet. But we had to figure out what was wrong, what was the disconnect between the two of us. And once we figured that out, we've been working towards it. I even have to see someone every Wednesday, like a pastor, a counselor, and it's been working. When I feel like something is wrong, instead of turning it to alcohol, right now, I just talk to the pastor, they can talk to her, or I can even talk to her directly. So for the parents, however painful it is, because I've seen the pain in my parents' eyes, you will have to figure out where did you go wrong or where your kid went wrong, then you'll have to work on that. So yeah, it's going to work out eventually. You have to believe that, otherwise there's no point in working on this. So thank you.
Yes, much for that, Jemima. Yes, it's true. We have to figure out the disconnect between maybe like most of the time you find that maybe people have resentment towards their parents, or maybe like there could be some relationship difficulties with family members. But as you're saying that you have to find out maybe where things went wrong for us to find a chance of moving on. Yes, thank you so much for that. So I give it back to Catherine.
Okay, thank you for that candid sharing. I know it's a very thin line between love and overcaring. And especially when people are in addiction, that line becomes very blurred. That the concern our parents have for us, sometimes it's not appreciated, sometimes it's intrusive. And parents also love, and the line can get blurred. But we appreciate that when we come together, we talk about it. We are able to understand each other, communicate, and get a middle ground. Because also people who, like their parents, don't care or don't seem to care, also don't do well in recovery. So that love and care should be there. We just need to know at what measures and how to give it. Because sometimes we love the way we want to, yet ideally you need to love the way the person being loved needs to be loved. So I shouldn't love you the way I need to be loved. I should love you the way you need to be loved in that space. But it takes a lot of communication to get there. So thank you very much. If we don't have any other input, unless I'm locking anyone out, I will ask someone to pray for us. And I will ask one of the parents to pray for us so that you bless our children and you bless the workers as we try our best. As Dr. said, we treat, but God heals. So we are asking for your prayers and blessings at this point. Any of the parents?
Yeah, I'll pray. Hello?
Yes, go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll pray. Let's believe. Let's believe and let us trust in God. Heavenly Father, we come before you this afternoon, Lord, with hearts full of gratitude. We want to thank you, Jehovah God, for the session that has just gone by. We want to thank you, Jehovah God, for the insight and the inspiring words, what we have learned, Jehovah God. We are so grateful for each and every person who has participated, Jehovah God. We want to thank you even for the patients who are at the Hope Center, Jehovah God. We want to thank you for the Hope community, my Father. We want to thank you for each and every parent, my Father, in the name of Jesus. And Jehovah God, the word that has come out is that doctors treat, but Jehovah, you are the one who heals. You are Jehovah Rapha, and we are trusting that Jehovah God, at the end of it all, you are going, Jehovah God, to restore everybody, Jehovah God, in the mighty name of Jesus. Because Jehovah God, we know that you can do anything, you can do everything, and you can do all things. Because you are a God who is faithful, you are a God who is merciful, you are the God who sees the tears of the parents who have cried, Jehovah God. You are the one who created our children in your own image, And we are standing, Jehovah God, on Jeremiah 29:11, that your plans for us, for our children, is good. It's not to do evil. Your thoughts towards us are good, and you have good plans and hope for each and every one of us, especially our children, Jehovah God. And Jehovah God, we also stand on Romans chapter 8:28, that all things work together for good to them that love you and are called according to your purpose. We might not see the good at the moment, Jehovah God, but eventually you say it will work out for our good and for your maximum glory. So we are holding on to this.
We have lost Marilyn. Let us say amen to the prayer. Thank you very much. And
Amen.
I want to tell you, thank you very much for your time, for finding time to attend this meeting. We will have another meeting in a month's time. We will communicate. Be blessed and have a great day ahead. We are here as a family and we are willing to engage. So feel free at any point to keep the engagement. Thank you and have a good afternoon and good morning, Margaret. You can now grab some sleep before it's morning again. Good day to you all.